Some people are also quite afraid of all the technologies that come our way. Where do you think some of that fear is maybe justified?
Yeah, I think I suspect there's a great deal of fear around what it means. I think um, part of the potential risk is that those who can, start to dominate the technology can end up influencing in ways that may not be very positive, right? So the traditional technologies, a lot of those have been, when we went to the Stone Age to the Iron Age and the Bronze Age and things. I mean, those were weapons that got created, right? And the weapons allowed people to, do things that weren't so great for society, or at least certainly to some individuals. So I think the fear is that, our instincts as human beings aren't always, towards that upward march of humanity. Oftentimes, it's about satiating our own goals or perceived instinctual goals. So I could see that people would be concerned that as we get to these awesome points of technology that others could control or small groups could control, they could use that power in ways that don't necessarily advantage the many, right? And not that everybody needs to be utilitarian, but the notion of what can a small group with this type of technology do, that's a realistic fear to have. The challenge is, how do we start to build in moral and ethical boundaries around this? How do we build it into education? How do we build it into people so that they can be aware and detect that these strange things are happening, so that as they build these capabilities, they'll question to say, wait a minute, this could be used in ways that it wasn't intended. That's our opportunity, right? We need to instill people and equip them to identify, understand, and address some of these issues. I think the issues are very real, so I would never suggest that there's not a downside potential, as there is with any technology, right? I mean, atomic energy was a great thing, but frankly, our first instinct, as a race, was to weaponize, and that's not necessarily a great thing. So I understand the fear associated with it, but I think our opportunity is that we can put moral and ethical boundaries around it if we're smart about how we do it, and if we can raise awareness, if we can infuse that, into the fabric of our societies, and create more of a culture of awareness, and also insight into where these risks could take us, because it's us that define them, right? It's us that design them. It's us that deploy them. As long as we can infuse that awareness, thinking, and sort of ethical and moral fiber, we can make it work. If for some reason we can't do that, there's certainly risk.